Welcome back, everybody, to Me and Jesse podcast. My name is Mark Pavelich, and in the Grove, looking very schvelter today.
Schvelter.
The one and only Jesse Martineau.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, everybody. Oh, schvelter. I mean, I don't even know what that means, but we'll take
Look it up today, everybody. Look it up. It's a good thing.
I should hope so. Yes, welcome everybody to the Me and Jesse podcast. We're excited to have you, of course, as always. Of course. And
for the most exciting 60 minutes of your life probably is going to happen right now. And what we're going to talk about today is super simple. We're going to talk about winning, baby. That's what we're going to talk about today, because that's all I'm doing is winning.
Well, I mean, your teams right now are definitely winning a little bit.
I'm winning, and I'm loving it, and I'm excited, and it's crazy. I got Croatia doing what they're supposed to be doing. I got the Raiders supposed to be doing what they're doing. I got the Red Wings doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Wow.
I'm winning everywhere. I'm winning everywhere. It's unbelievable. And I cherish these moments in time, because after watching Brazil play today, I'm like, it might be short-lived, but I'm super happy how far Croatia has come in the World Cup once again in the top 8. And, it's funny. We have a world ranking of 12. I always thought that was funny, because in the last 3 to 4 World Cups, we've been runner-ups.
Well, actually, that's actually an interesting point you bring up, because a lot of people have been confused because they thought Belgium was the number 2 team in the world. But what it means is it qualified second. It doesn't. And so I always look at the power rankings. So that's where the difference is of power rankings and actual rankings.
You're correct.
So power rankings, Belgium was down, the top 10 still, but they weren't number 2.
No,
and
absolutely
so,
not.
like you have to look at that way. That's why, because I think Argentina was technically ranked number 1, but Brazil had the number 1 power ranking. So you got to look at the power rankings too a little bit. And I think they've been fairly accurate for the most part, other than some major upsets along the way.
But what have we noticed about big countries population-wise and money-wise, like Japan, that can now there's a style of soccer, and I'm going to get into this today. And I didn't want to talk about soccer too much, but one of our dear guests, Toss Ricketts, is doing a phenomenal job on TSN. There's a few imbeciles on that panel that I can't stand. Toss is not one of them. Toss is doing a great job. Some of the other guys, and I won't say who, but they got English accents and Scottish accents. Not such a fan of these guys. I think they're buffoons. But past that, what I am saying is we're talking about levels of soccer here that we have to discuss today. When people say that Canada's this close, I'm going to explain to everybody, they're not just this close. You can't see my hands. You can't see how far apart they are. That's how close they're not. They're miles away, because the levels of soccer, which people have to learn how to play, is you cannot attack 90 minutes and attack. And you find out what happens. And countries like Japan are finding out it's great to be super fast and you can run down that field, but you don't have the skill to match teams like Croatia. Okay. And then there's another level here at the World Cup, because Croatia is like 1B, okay? 1B. 1A is France, not even England. France and Brazil, they're 1A. 1B is England, Croatia. Like you can surf and turf. But you get to Canada, what did we say on the Me and Jesse podcast? They'd be lucky if they won a game. They'd be lucky if they scored a goal or 2. They scored actually 2 goals. They didn't win a game. And they're close. That's not close, everybody. That's not close.
Yeah, no.
You're still in the group with most of the African countries, excluding Senegal. They're kind of up there now too as well. But what everybody's finding out about soccer is it's great to be fast, but you still need skill.
Yeah. They played I'll say this. They played 2 great halves over the 3 games.
Who?
They played Canada. They played 2 great halves.
Yes, that's right. I agree.
And the rest, some were okay halves and some were horrible halves. But I think that you look at it though, and I think coming from where were we, 138th or something?
Correct.
Last World Cup, to jump into where we are now, obviously that's a big thing. And people that don't know about the sport obviously think, well, if you go that far and you're in there and you're beating all these teams, then it must mean this. Well, it isn't that way. It would be like, you know, a team from that pops in, like Germany, for example, getting into the World Juniors even, and running it to the final. Like, that just isn't going to happen. Like, you know, it's great that they made it, and they might, you know, put a dent in something somewhere along the way.
Exactly.
But that's as far as it's really going to go. You can't really expect more than that. I was really hoping for at least 1 point in the draw, and again, like, but I do think it's really good. I think that, you know, in 4 years when it comes to North America, well, you know, I think that with 4 years of developing and stuff like this is good for the country. It's amazing for the sport. We can't deny that. It is amazing for the sport here in Canada.
I agree.
It puts it on the map. It puts it makes it so that kids want to grow up playing soccer. So I think that it doesn't hurt that way. It's disappointing. I hope that it doesn't hurt, you know, the sport nationally, but I don't think it does. Like, those build-up games and everything were awesome.
But there's a kid laying around right now that's 17, 18 years old that might be on that team in 4 years.
Yep.
And he's thinking to himself, you know what, man? I'm watching certain people play, okay? Alphonso Davies might be somewhat of a role model to him, but that's not who he's looking at. He's looking at is the Mbappe's, and he's looking at Griezmann. He's looking at these guys, and he's looking at those guys, okay? And he's looking at those guys, and even Modric at his age, the way he's controlling the center of the field. Once again, people don't understand that at his age, the level of soccer he is playing. On the bench of Croatia right now, on the bench, you got guys that in the last World Cup were superstars. They're not even playing anymore. Yeah. They're either too old or they're hurt. Okay. And Vida, remember the guy with the blonde hair with the ponytail, the Croatian guy that played defense? Yeah. The guy was a brick wall. He's sitting on the bench right now. You know what I mean? So these are guys that you have to remember, like, and now what happens with Croatia, Modric is going to go to the wayside. And
is this his last one? He might probably his last one. Eh?
No, this will be his last one. And then you have other guys too that this is going to be their last one. Now in 4 years, who's going to be that guy who are those 2 or 3 guys that are going to be the real goal scorers that come up? Hey, no names are crossing my mind right now. But what I am saying is the run of a country that has 3.85 million people. I repeat, that's not a misprint. 3.85 million people getting this far each year is not just each year, each World Cup, and in Euro Cup does well all the time. Enough is enough. When they started calling Japan the Cinderella team, I almost effing puked, okay? Because if there's only one Cinderella team every year, and it's Croatia, everybody. 3.85 million people, end of story. The next closest country that was still in was like 10 million. And after that, it went up 20 million, 300 million, 200 million. You know, we're the size of Toronto. Okay. Yeah. And we're playing in the World Cup and we're doing what we're doing. I don't give a shit. You can talk about Brazil and whatever they're doing. We've won already. Croatians around the world have won already. We don't even care anymore. We're just like, you know what, man? We're not happy to be here. But with Croatians, you never know. You know what's funny? When the Canadian coach said what he said, I started to laugh. I said, okay, you know what? I want the Brazil coach to say something stupid too, because nothing more than us passive Croatians like is a fight. And when we fight, if you go through history and watch, we're very successful. We're very successful when it comes to a fight. So what I am saying is Brazil is a huge favor in that game. We got nothing to lose, everything to gain, and that's the end of it. But the beauty of it all is if they beat Croatia, the next team that I've been watching that looks literally unstoppable is France. And I'm telling you, I don't think England's got a chance in hell to beat France. I think France, like when I watch France play, there is just like, it's like bullets, like bullet 1, bullet 2. Oh, pass to him, pass. It literally looks like the Harlem Globetrotters playing soccer. Yeah. And I'm telling you, they got a lot of gas left in the tank. They literally have they basically have the best player on the field in the whole tournament right now. And you know, countries like Portugal, I think, you know, there's trouble in the camps there right now with Ronaldo and how he's conducting himself. And I'm a Ronaldo fan, but the way he's been conducting himself, not too professional lately, like, you know, storming and pouting off, you know, when they took him out of the game the other day. I'm telling you, it's coming down to Brazil and France. And I think France is going to win. Like, I pray that a miracle happens and Croatia does well, but I do think watching the level of France right now is just it's on a whole nother planet of soccer.
Yeah, they're top to bottom.
Oh,
awesome and deep. Like their bench guys can come out and play. So it is. How about the return of like Giroud? Like I remember, the last World Cup, they were saying the English announcers were saying one guy in particular. I forget who it was. It might have been Frank Lampard or whatever. His name is,
Lampard
said they will never win a World Cup if Giroud was on the team, and they won it that year.
Yeah,
he was like, "F this, I'm gonna." He's been awesome for 4 years.
It's crazy.
And now he's good. And he just became the top scorer in France's history. He just passed Thierry Henry.
Griezmann still, like, it's crazy.
And then, you don't forget about that. And then he's got like Ribery and I mean, like,
it's nuts.
And they have 6 injuries that would be starters.
Do you notice something different about this France team, though, is they're having fun.
Yeah.
They're actually having fun playing. It doesn't look like it's that stressful for them. And I got to give this too. Brazil, too. They look like they're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
But keep in mind something. Keep in mind, everybody. Look at their stage games. They weren't blowing anybody out 4-1, 5-1, or whatever. They beat Korea today 4-1. Korea looked like basically shit from the second they started to the end. They look so unorganized. They look super nervous, and of course, they haven't been in this situation very many times. But I am telling you, it's a big difference. Hey, Croatia beat Canada 4-1. Think about that for a second. And Brazil beat Korea 4-1. Think about that. And Korea basically they looked out of sorts right from the second they blew the whistle. Brazil jumped on them right away. Once they jumped on them, the wind was out of their sails. They basically gave up. They lost 4-1, and then they basically started substituting guys out with like 20 minutes left. You know what I mean? So Brazil let off the gas, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, and they should, because they know they have. It doesn't really matter till now. So you got to take care of your guys to get them and they're ready for the next one. I mean, France-England is going to be awesome. I'm excited for that one. That will be a good game. And then they've hated each other for centuries. So
that'll be, in my opinion, I'm as excited to watch France and England play each other as I was today to watch Croatia play Japan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It should be good.
What time is that game? Is that game tomorrow at what time?
I want to say it's Thursday, but I could be wrong about that.
We should check that too. We should announce it, because that's if you want to start to like soccer, watch.
Yeah,
that
now
game.
Start watching, because now it's knockout. Everything matters so much more. Every miss matters so much more. Like it is. This is what you've really played for your entire life. Now you're here in the top 8. Oh my gosh! Like this is what it's all about. I love it. I love it so much.
Well, I tell people all the time, if you want to, there's not a sport in a world where I will set my alarm clock for 2:59 a.m. You understand that?
Right, that's right.
My first game against Morocco, my alarm clock was at 2:59 a.m.
Oh, it's until Saturday.
And then, England?
Yeah, tomorrow is Morocco, Spain.
Yeah.
Well, Morocco, kudos to Morocco for making it out of there.
Unbelievable.
You had to be
won
Belgium.
the division. Morocco won the division.
Yeah, they won the division. That's mind blowing. I didn't think that was going to happen. But now they're tough against Spain. Although Spain didn't look great last time. But
how crazy is that though? Japan wins their division, and if you would have said to anybody, Germany's in that division, was Spain in that division?
I know.
All those people were in that division, and what happens? Morocco wins our division.
Canada, Croatia, Belgium.
Yeah, they win that division, which no one thought they would. In hindsight, Japan wins their division for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Asian country wins the division, which nobody in a million years thought they would win. So Croatia goes and plays Japan. Easily the easier.
You know what else
game.
though? We're forgetting about it will be an awesome game is the Netherlands and Argentina.
I agree. I don't think Argentina's got the gas.
That's what I mean. I think they have to be nervous about the Netherlands. The Netherlands have a big chip on their shoulder about missing the last one. And
did
they miss the Euros too? I can't remember. But anyway,
no,
they got a big chip on their shoulder. I asked, who are we talking to? The UFC. Tall guy. Shoot.
Stefan Struve.
Yes. He mentioned when he was on the show that, Max Verstappen's a big deal, huge deal.
Yeah.
but how much it pales in comparison still to
soccer.
Well, yeah, they're football.
Football.
You know, the World Cup. Like it's Max Verstappen is an iconic superstar there. Yet still, here's football. It is up here. So that's on Friday at noon. That will be an awesome game too. Actually, all these games, and we don't know the sixth game yet, but yeah, it's just to be determined. So
I know Croatia plays Brazil on Friday
at 8 a.m.
So they're giving me a little breather on that one because
Portugal, Switzerland. I mean, kudos again to the Swiss. Like, I mean, they make it there. I think that's a great matchup for Portugal. I think they can go through.
Don't be surprised though if the Swiss beat Portugal.
I will be surprised. I won't be like shocked. I think I have Portugal like on that. I mean, you'd have to be crazy not to pick them, but it could happen. I think it's closer than what people are saying. Maybe a 60-40 split. I don't know. But,
I'm okay. Yeah.
But either way, like all these games starting Friday in the quarters. So yeah, the fourth game on the quarters will be the winner of Spain Morocco versus the winner of Spain or Switzerland Portugal. So those will be the other game on the Saturday. So anyway, so Friday, December 9th, 8 a.m. Brazil, Croatia. Oh my gosh. Followed by Netherlands and Argentina. That's incredible. That's awesome too. Both those games are going to be great. And then the winner, I hope it's Spain, Portugal, because they're right next to each other, and that would be
they'll
epic.
Kill each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then England, France. I mean, really, like this. Like the quarters are awesome. This is how it should be. There's not like really the Cinderella thing that kind of squeaked in yet. Anyway, I guess Swiss could make it or Morocco could make it. I mean, imagine Morocco made it. But
Morocco would be nuts. Morocco would be
crazy.
Nuts,
but still, like this could be great. This is shaping up to be.
Morocco's doing right now is beyond a miracle.
Man,
beyond
it is
a miracle.
Insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, like you wonder, like sometimes, like. I remember talking about, I thought that like an African team would be in there somewhere at some point. And this was like 10 years ago. In the next like 10 to 20 years, Africa will be in there. There'll be a top 10 team in there somewhere. I guess Morocco's technically in Africa, but technically, but I thought like Ghana or something like that, Ivory Coast or something like that would be Senegal. It like would be like right, and again, it just shows like how much lack of support there is in those nations to really drive. They have to go somewhere else to play.
Can we talk about that all the time? We get that from people all the time when they tell us, oh, like United States is going to win the World Cup, and I'm like, no, they're not. And then people like Canada's going to win the World Cup. I'm like, you guys, you understand?
Yes.
They got tuned in the round of 16. I mean, tuned. First of all, they squeaked in to get there. Then they got tuned. The States.
Yeah.
And then they got tuned 3-1. And people go, oh, 3-1, that's not bad. Listen, in soccer, 3-1 is like 10-2 in hockey. Okay, everybody?
Yep.
Like, I'm not joking. So if a team wins 4-1, that's a massacre in soccer. So what I'm trying to explain to people is, like United States is miles away from ever
but
getting
I do like how young they've gone, and I do like
they got young, but they played the wrong style, Jesse. Same with Canada.
Yeah, and again, I think we talked about that before. I think there's there's not a choice at this stage. They know they can't contain a team even like Croatia, who isn't really aggressive. They're very patient and very methodical and stuff. So even if you can't contain that, and it looks like they can run up a score on you.
And then you go to
what
1-8.
happens? Yeah, what happens when you play?
You go to 1-8 with France and Brazil, and I'm still not saying England is there, but England's got about three really.
There's no question.
They got three really good kids now that a lot of people don't know who they are, and they're fantastic. And I watched them play the other day too, and they were very impressive.
It's their defense, if their defense can play, but again, like that's one of the things, like. France, though, the weird thing is their first halves have not been great. Like, their first halves haven't been spectacular.
Jesse,
they dial it up in the second half.
They just dial it up.
True.
That's what they'll do that in the first half. They'll do that in the first half.
That's what I mean. They have to. When you play in England, they have to.
They have a long
They're going to have to now.
No one has to save themselves anymore, right?
No.
So you don't have to save yourself. Just go out there and go nuts and we got guys down the bench that can come in, with 20 minutes left, 10 minutes left.
Exactly, and that is a big thing. All right, I'm gonna say something here, and you're gonna love it.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
You're actually, I was being sarcastic. You're gonna hate it.
Oh, okay.
The Dallas Cowboys are friggin' unreal.
Can't say, yeah, they are. They look awesome. But let me tell you about the shitbag organization of the Dallas Cowboys. These guys are up 47-19 yesterday. 47-19. And these morons. Okay, let me explain this to you. Cowboy Nation, when you watch this podcast, make sure you know that I despise you in every way possible. And I have no fear of any of you. And you know what the difference is? When you're up 47-19 or 18 or whatever it was, and you guys are doing choreographed routines in the end zone, that to me shows your whole classless organization just continues to show who you are, because you think by now, with your lack of success in the playoffs the last 10 years, that you guys would humble yourselves just a titch, just a little bit, but you can't do it, Dallas Cowboys. You can't, because you're arrogant. You've always been arrogant. Your owner's an idiot. He from the top to the bottom, he's showing you guys are jumping in that stupid pot, doing the stirring thing and all that other bullshit. And I'm telling you, I saw it yesterday night and I thought, wow, 47-19, and you guys are doing choreographed celebration dances in the end zone at 47-19. I can't even believe the opposing coach shook your hand at the end.
Yeah.
To the other coach, because I think it was so classless, but that's the Dallas Cowboys. I'm okay with it. I already know who they are, so it's nothing new for me. When I saw them doing it, I'm like, total classless.
Newsflash, though. Newsflash. The Broncos still suck.
It's unbelievable. Oh, my God.
9
they're looking
points.
for a refund.
No,
they're looking for a
granted, the Ravens got 10 points. What a horrible game.
Horrible.
LeVar Jackson, the Ravens, who should be running up scores, just can't get it going. Something's going on in Baltimore. I don't know what it is.
You see who was back yesterday with Cleveland? You see who was back with Cleveland yesterday?
Yes. I was going to get to that. That was another thing. They
Crazy.
changed their logo to a masseuse table. They've never had a logo before, the Browns, so they decided, hey, why not? Let's get a massage table on our helmet. And it was that or
That's
something
funny.
else,
That's
and they
funny.
went with a
That's
massage table. So that was either that or a pair of handcuffs. But
oh my God! Hey, that soundbite for TikTok's going to be awesome on that one, eh?
Yeah. So Deshaun Watson comes back, squeaks it out, plays his old team, ironically enough.
Yeah, and they won.
They won.
Yep.
And you know what? Deshaun Watson's awesome. There's no question. The guy can ball. I can't argue that. But you know what else happens? He,
say it.
Well, he should be in jail, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, really, how many people get to pay off crimes?
What, 20 people?
25
people? 25, yeah.
Let's not mince numbers. 25 people out of the 26 he's paid off to know. That isn't like saying, okay, shut up. It is like, I am guilty, 100% guilty. Here's
times.
money, 25 times. Here's money to not take me to court.
Lots of money, yeah.
I mean, come on now. Like, what do we expect? I don't even understand how this guy...
Can we say this in a different term, though? You took money. He didn't get... I
understand,
but... He didn't go to jail. He didn't go to jail.
Yeah.
And wait a second now, Jesse. This is where I have the problem, okay? When you take money... That's something different now. That really disturbs me that people took the money. Not to say that, okay, you're taking millions of dollars. I understand. But if you were sexually assaulted, okay?
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah, but I don't think it needs to go back on. I don't think it needs to go back to the victim. I think that does need to go to the system. The system is messed up. Because, you can pay it off. I don't get that. You can pay this off.
Yeah, but go ahead and pay it off, but you still have to like
Yeah,
get
you should
criminal
still have to
charges or something.
answer for
Totally.
the crime. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
don't understand
That's
why.
my point.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But here we are. This is the NFL, and they don't care either. They got
That's
his.
clear. You've made that clear on this show many
It's
times.
very clear.
And here,
They don't care at all.
This is the highest one though. Out of all the crazy shit you've seen in the NFL, this one trumps everything. Maybe not the Ray Lewis one, but but trumps everything else.
One thing it might because A, the number, but B, like, you know, it was, you know, Ray Lewis, like, they're not really sure. I mean, I'm
That's
sure,
right.
but no,
right.
but with these ones, we're sure.
Yeah, no, you're right about the Ray
times
Lewis
25.
Yeah, we're not saying Ray Lewis to compare him to Watson. We're saying that he got in trouble once at a club and they weren't sure if he killed someone or his security guy killed someone, or we don't know. He pinned it on him. But what we're trying to say is the NFL is notorious. Like I said, like we got to get back to the Colin Kaepernick thing, because if you think that it's because he kneeled down. He's not playing in the NFL right now, you're on drugs, because they'll let anybody play in the NFL if they're good enough. Anybody.
Absolutely. It is. If you're good enough, you're playing. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to play. And that's just how it is.
Guys, if you don't believe us, please go to Google, and there's a thing you can check out, and I've done it. Google how many people have been arrested in the last year in the NFL right now. And when I say that, I'm not making this up, guys. Go and Google, say the last 2 years. Google how many people have been arrested in the current NFL in the last 2 years. Arrested for the number one thing, drinking and driving. The next one, battery. The next one,
it's mind blowing.
It's mind blowing. You can't even make this stuff up. Like I don't think there's any other sport that you could Google and check how many people have been arrested in or charged in the NFL in the last 2 years. You will not believe it.
Yeah. Another thing that's crazy that's happening is that the Seahawks won again, and they beat the Rams, who are out of it now, and they have picks, and the Broncos are giving them 2 top 4 picks. This is what's happening. Everybody thought, those will be like 28. But 25 to 30.
Does Russell stay in Denver next year?
Well, you have to. Who's going to take him? It's guaranteed money. You can't unload it. Who are you going to unload it to? Who's going to pay that at this page? I mean, you could see maybe the Texans or something doing something just because they don't have anything. Like, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I think they have to. I don't think they have a choice.
I think it's unbelievable. If you would have told me this at the beginning of the NFL season, okay, that Russell Wilson would have been the flop that he is in Denver, and that listen how crazy this is, Jesse. That Geno Smith would be lighting it up in Seattle, and Russell Wilson would be a flop in Denver. Like, listen to that, what I just said. You would have thought I was on drugs to say something like that out loud. But it's actually happening. Like, we're watching this with our eyes right now.
Don't even understand.
Russell Wilson is basically like what's happened to him. I have no idea. And what's happened with Geno Smith, bravo. But what I am saying is, if you would have said this at the beginning of the NFL season, they would have locked you up.
I totally agree. It is. It is nuts.
Crazy.
Nuts.
And bro, dude, what about this? You look at the Raiders this year and you think, they're going to get 10 wins easy, or 9-10 wins easy. Now they're 5-7, and they've won their last 3.
Yeah.
I said three shows ago, I said, quote, they have to win out to make the playoffs.
They do.
Win out. You know what's funny? I looked at this. So since I said that, they won the last 3 games. They play Thursday against the frailing Rams. Okay. So they play Thursday night. Looks like they're going to win that one. They could go 6-7. The week after, they play the Patriots that are whatever. They could be 7-7. Now there's a big problem. They can win the next, 2 games, but you know who they finished the season against? KC.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what's the funny part? Raiders, but it's in Vegas too, though, right? So they beat them there before. But I thought, wow, one game by one game, win on Thursday, then you just keep winning. And then I thought, you know how comical this would be if they get to Vegas on the last game of the season and they actually go run the table, but they lose to KC.
Oh my gosh.
Vegas.
I know.
I said, that would be so funny. I'm not saying funny, but I'm saying is for a team that basically, I don't know what happened to them. Where did they go brain dead for a long period of time? But then all of a sudden, they beat 3 decent teams in a row. And it's like, hey, wait a second. There's something here, but there's not. It's an optical illusion. Once again, everybody, Derek Carr cannot be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders if they ever want to win the Super Bowl.
I think so too. Yeah. It is one of those things. I don't think. I mean, even if they do go 10-7, it's going to be a stretch to get the wild card. Even like it is.
Yeah.
Because I think
But you know what the difference is though. Look at they just beat their division guys. They beat they're playing KC.
Chargers.
So Chargers. Yeah. So if they can do that. Getting there, you know what I'm saying? Like beating your division guys. The record in their division is a winning record. It's outside the division. They lost against Jacksonville. You know what I mean? Like they made some big hiccups. They've lost every game this year by 5 points, 2 points. They lost by 1 point. That's the thing. They had one bad game this whole season, and it was against New Orleans where they lost 24-0, and that was catastrophic. But the rest of the games, if you check, they've only lost by 1 point, 3 points, 5 points, a touchdown. Nothing crazy. Only one game against New Orleans where they really shit the bed. So how far off are they really? Or do you just want to make the playoffs every year? Like try to make the playoffs with Derek Carr, be competitive. You can keep doing that for the next 10, 8 years, 7 years, 6 years.
Right.
But you're not going to go past that.
Right.
You might make the playoffs, but you won't get out of the round. You won't, that's what it's going to be for the next 10 years.
I think so too. Like it is tough. You gotta do something there. You gotta shake it up. You gotta get someone in there. I think it's going to be very hard because the wild card's much tighter in the AFC than it is the NFC. And I don't know. Like
10-7 might not make it.
Yeah, you're right. It might not make it.
Yeah.
You absolutely can't lose again.
You cannot lose.
No.
Any game that you lose, you're out. Yeah. That's what it is.
That's where it's at.
If you play on Thursday and you shit the bed on Thursday Night Football, you're out. That's it. You're not. There's no way you're getting in at 9-8. It's not happening.
No, I don't think so.
And by all records, this will be a flop of a season by a million miles. And when you listen, Al Davis. Let me explain this to people at home, was great. Al Davis was iconic. You understand that, right? He is iconic. Everything about Al Davis he was special. He was mean. He was aggressive. He didn't care if he hurt your feelings. He didn't care. You remember Pete Rozelle?
Of course.
He was attacking Pete Rozelle, like about all kinds of stuff. That was back in the day when he was running the NFL. Al Davis was special. His son, not so special. Okay. Like I said, it's a miracle how that came out of his testicles is literally the most bizarre thing in the world, because that kid has no sense of direction, no sense of like, we're going to go this way and there's a path. There is no path. He has no business running a football team. I've said it before. Dana White and the Fertitta brothers are friends.
Yes.
The Fertitta brothers now, after the sale of the UFC, have a ton of money. Right? And Dana White's got a ton of money. Now, Dana and the Fertitta brothers are, it was very sad for Dana when the Fertitta brothers sold the business for $4 billion.
Yeah.
Dana got $350 million or $320 million. The Fertitta brothers got all that billions of dollars. How poetic would it be for a bunch of guys that live in Vegas to get the band back together again, Dana White, the Fertitta brothers, and say, hey, we're gonna buy the Raiders.
Absolutely.
We are gonna buy the Raiders, and we're gonna get the band back together. The Fertitta brothers and Dana White. Dana's gonna run the UFC, use that as a backdrop for the Raiders, and then cross promote the two together, and then they take over the Raiders, because well as I do, Dana's got a lot of kind of pull with guys. He almost had the deal done to get Gronk and Brady for the Raiders, and numbnuts that's not there anymore wrecked the deal. Gruden, he wrecked the deal. So they had Gronk and Brady set up to play for the Raiders, and Dana was kind of behind that whole convincing him to come to Las Vegas, the tax break, everything. Didn't happen. Now, if Dana and the Fertitta brothers get the band back together again, okay, and say, okay, guys, Dana, you are the promoter of the UFC and now the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Fertitta brothers are great guys. I've met them multiple times. Very well mannered. They look great in suits. They look like NFL owners to me. You know,
right?
You stick them up there and say, guys, let's go. Watch what happens. Al Davis would no longer roll in the grave what his son has done. Okay. And Dana White and the Fertitta brothers would never take losing lightly, and they would make sure they would win.
Well, you heard it there. It's a good plan.
It's a great plan.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, listen, and you think I want to say that? Listen, Dana, I know Dana, and I think he has. Listen, you need guys with thick egos, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. But you need guys like him that have thick egos that will say, "Yeah, I want to win. What's wrong with that? You know, what's wrong? What's wrong with talking like that?
I know.
Do you think the NFL is about losing? Are you crazy? You got to win in the NFL. No one gives a shit that you winning is everything in the NFL. More than any other sport in the world, NFL week after week, there's only 17 weeks. You have to win.
Yeah.
You think Derek Carr would be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders right now if the Fertitta brothers and Dana White only owned the Raiders? Not in a million years. They would never settle for that. They would never think that that's okay. They would never. So that's what you have to get, someone that makes the hard choices, and that they'll make them.
Speaking of winning, now this is something that you also
Sure.
couldn't predict at the beginning of the year. Yet it's true.
Yeah.
Is that the New Jersey Devils are 20-4
It's
on the
unbelievable.
season.
And you know what's crazy, Jesse? Because they are the New Jersey Devils, and they're basically the second team in New York.
Yeah.
The third.
Third
They're
team.
the third.
Yeah, third
They're
team.
the third. They're the third team in. Excuse me, Rangers, Islanders, and then them.
Yeah.
They're the third team in New York. No one's paying attention. Sometimes that's the best of all.
Yep.
No one's paying attention to you, so you might as well just go play every night, and they can use that as a crutch and say, "Hey, no one's paying attention to us. No one cares about us, and we're 20. We're what are we, 20? What are they? 20-4.
20-4.
Yeah, 20-4.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it is mind blowing. Their goal differential is plus 36.
It's crazy.
Second to only the Boston Bruins, whose record is 20-3. Like those two teams are mind-meltingly hot right now. It is crazy how good they're playing.
I went and saw the other day live
Okay.
the Montreal Canadiens play the Edmonton Oilers.
Right.
The two greatest hockey players in the entire NHL. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl.
Okay.
That's it. Two best players. You got OV in Washington. You got Sidney in Pittsburgh.
McKinnon?
You got Matt. You got Varner in Toronto. But I'm letting you know, they got to figure this out, the Oilers, this year, because if they don't figure it out this year, and what I mean by figuring it out is getting out of. Okay, you guys can get out of the first round. No, that's great.
Fine.
You can get out of the second round, but you got to get out of the third round.
Yeah.
Okay,
You got to go to the final.
You got to go to the final, or anything less is a catastrophe. You have Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman. You know, like there's a little more depth than usual of guys. You know, and the problem is, I watched the defense. Like
it's still the issue. And the goaltending issue that you thought you solved, now you're playing this kid that nobody's ever heard of and thinking he's the guy now. He's the guy. And you're like,
yeah, because Campbell came here and I thought too. I thought the guy was legit. For some reason,
that to me says there's another issue.
Yeah, there is. There is an issue.
Right? Because Talbot was also awesome on another team. And he came here and he sucked.
It happened
and so you're like, okay, what's going on? What is the issue?
Yeah.
Is like, who's the goaltending coaches? What's going on here? Because every time a goalie comes in, now, the only thing that I could say then is that defense is extremely overrated.
Yes.
I really do think that they are not good. I think that your goaltending only gets you so far. Obviously, it's a huge key, and you need a goalie in the playoffs to steal some games. That being said, when your defense is giving up and I don't just necessarily mean the 6 defensemen. I mean the team. Because that team doesn't seem like they really want to shut her down. And again, when they do want to shut her down, it's like almost they go into panic mode.
That's
and let's try to shut her down, but it's hectic. It's haywire from what you're trying to do. It's not like, hey, let's turn off the tap now and shut her down. But and it's not possible. So I don't know. Like, it's hard to say what's going to happen there because, really, they're 14-11 on the season. Okay, yeah, they're above 500, but that doesn't really matter. Puts them in the middle of their division. That's not great. And so, I mean, the Seattle Kraken are 15-6. Like, it's crazy right now. But that being said, like, I really do believe that something has to shake loose. They need to make a move. They need to get somebody else. They need to make a trade at the deadline. Something along the way to help take them to that next step. I don't know what the issue is. It should be, and again, some of the issue is sometimes too that you get the highlight reels and everyone's like, oh, look how amazing they are because McDavid did another highlight. And McDavid's going to have a highlight every game. Like, they could lose 14-1 and he would have the one highlight.
Listen, I've seen everybody play live. Like, I mean, everybody. I've seen Gretzky play live. I've seen Mario Lemieux play live. I've seen, back in the day, like Guy Lafleur play live. I've seen everybody. I still believe the best hockey player of all time, undisputed, never can be argued, is Wayne Gretzky.
Right.
But what I've seen McDavid do here is insanity. Like the way he can play with the puck with his skill level.
Yeah.
I thought Fedorov was one of those guys that had the skill level. Like I was like, wow, like that's
again, but it's they're pioneers. It's different.
Yeah, this is different. McDavid's skill level, I can easily say he has the best skill level I've ever seen in my entire life on a hockey player. Doesn't make him the greatest hockey player. Doesn't make him even in the top 3.
No, because I think that conversation has to be different. Because I think that you put Crosby ahead of him still.
Oh, of course you
do. Due to what he does in the dressing room. Like, that's to me and that's what Gretzky was. That's what Messier was. That's what Lemieux was. That's what Crosby is. That's what Ovechkin is.
I don't think he's even in the same category as those guys because of what you just
said. I know. Skill, he could be the most skilled hockey player ever to play the game.
I that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what you just said is what else you just said is all of those guys won multiple Stanley Cups. Yeah. So that's another thing. So everybody that you mentioned won one or more Stanley Cups. This kid hasn't even sniffed it yet, right? So that's a big thing. I'm always going to say that if he goes through his whole career and doesn't win a Stanley Cup, I don't give a shit how many highlight reels you got.
It absolutely matters now. And this is the problem with hockey, I find. Is to have that level of skill, you have to do only that.
Yes.
You only can practice the skill. You can only play and practice and learn that skill, and you devote yourself to that skill because you have a natural ability to do it. Fine. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have amazing skill. But the lessons that have to be learned along the way to take that skill and take your team and put it on your back and carry it somewhere, that if you didn't learn that when you were young, you have to learn it now in the NHL. And the only way you can do it is by overcoming the losing that you have done in the first 6 or 7 years of your career.
Correct.
That's the only way. That's the only way you're going to overcome it and to be that guy. But you also didn't have the advantage of learning that growing up because all you had to do was focus on your skill, and you were so good that it didn't matter back then at that level. They could just put you on the ice for 38 minutes a game,
and at this level
you would win.
It matters. Yeah,
and that's all that mattered. There was no real adversity because
there's adversity
this is how now there is. And how do you respond to that? And you can still tell that he does not handle it well. He and again, I'm assuming this guy's a massive introvert. Like I'm assuming that he's probably socially awkward. He's probably a weirdo.
Yeah.
You can take that one to the bank. So he's a weirdo. So
I agree.
So you now then have to overcome all that stuff and be something you're not normally in your dressing room. And I don't know if he can do it.
No.
I haven't
It's
seen
weird
it.
too. Dreisaitl's the same thing though. Draisaitl also doesn't do it. I love his style of hockey. I love how he's a big guy. He plays like a big guy. He's a great goal scorer. He's a great passer. But I don't think he has that in the dressing room either.
Right.
And that's surprising because he could do it even more than McDavid. But I don't think he's doing it either. And that's where you're having issues, I think. You're having issues with
I think that the real leader on that team is Zach Hyman.
You think so?
I think he's the real leader on that team.
Yeah, I don't.
He's been around. Who would be more?
No, I just don't think he is. I don't think he was in Toronto either. I mean,
I don't think he was in Toronto. I just think on the Oilers, I think he's the highest. Like, that's their best leader. That's what I think. I think that's the best guy. I don't know of anyone else that stands out to me. Who else is there that stands out?
I don't know.
Is, again, you fix this, you get a goalie, whatever. That's great. But who is going to get you through those times? Now, I will say this, is that I do feel that the coach always runs into this scenario in Edmonton. And if you look at their coaching history over the last 10 years, you see this thing happen all the time. And it's
all the time.
I mean, can't we learn from history? Like, it's crazy that it's repeating itself constantly, and we're not learning from it, or the Oilers aren't learning from it.
No,
it happens all the time. So what do you do next? Like, okay, well, what? Come February, if they're 500 still, what, do you fire the coach then? You try that again? You try that move again? Because you tried that 5 times before, and it's never worked. So what is it? What is the missing thing? What is it? To me, it boils down to McDavid. What are they teaching him to be the leader? They put the C on his chest.
Yeah.
So
maybe a mistake.
I think so. I think that a lot of teams now, and the Flames are as well, like a lot of teams now aren't putting a C on people's chests. They're not doing
that's
it.
That's right. Yeah,
They're just using the A. And you're like, you know what? No, I think that, and I think it's smart. I think, no, until we find the guy that's going to be the guy, we don't do it. We don't put that on. Just because of the best player doesn't mean that they should be wearing the C.
I think you can solve this problem by making Draisaitl the captain of the team. You make him the captain.
Well, now you can't though, because you can't take it away from McDavid.
No, you can't. But I'm saying you should have made him the captain.
But then people would have said the other thing. Like, that's the other thing too. Yeah. Like, I think you just ride it out until you wait and don't put it. I don't know. Like, it's really hard to say what goes on in his head, but obviously it's not where he wants to be. I don't think he's like, he doesn't care about his stats so much. I really don't think he does. I really don't think McDavid cares too much about it. He knows the skill.
No,
he wants to win. Like, I do really believe that that's his thing. I just don't know if he knows how to portray that vocally to the dressing room and to get everyone to buy into what they're trying to do.
He clearly doesn't. But when it comes to that.
And so, you wonder what's going to happen there. I don't know what's going to happen there, but if it doesn't change, it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, like, it is the Raiders. Like,
totally.
You have some really great pieces. And again, the Raiders, there are great pieces. You can't deny Adams. Like, that guy's unreal. But,
unreal.
But
Josh Jacobs, unreal.
But you look at the leadership of the team, and then in that case, the Raiders too, maybe it is management. Maybe there is some stuff like that.
I see in the dressing room after, to me, I think the pieces, like you said, you have Devontae Adams, you have Max Crosby, you have Josh Jacobs. You have a lot of great pieces. You know what the funny part is? I see Derek Carr doing the talking in the dressing room, and he's not the piece that needs to be there. It's going to be painful for people, but you got to put someone in there that doesn't need to be your buddy. But you put that person in there, and I'm telling you, man, that you got a lot of guys. You got a lot of guys in that dressing room that can make a difference. Listen, there's a stat out there. There were 6 to 7 games this year where Derek Carr had the ball in his hand to win the game. 7 times, I believe it's 6th or 7th times that he had the ball in his hand with 3 minutes left in the game, with 2 to 3 timeouts, give or take, and he lost every game. So let's do some math. Most quarterbacks in the NFL, even if they're shitty, are going to win 3 of the 6. If you're good, you're going to win 4 to 5 of the 6. And if you're shitty, you're going to win 3, 2. Now, say the Raiders win horrible, just 2 out of the 6. We're in a different situation right now.
Oh, absolutely. You're 7-5.
But can you imagine? But who's that on? Is that not on the quarterback when you go 0-7?
Yeah, that's another thing too that I do find that sports today in North America is lacking is accountability, because everyone's so scared to criticize anyone anymore because I'm going to lose my press pass. I don't want to criticize
they won't
anything.
Do it, Jesse.
I'm going to lose my press pass. And you're like,
do it in Vegas.
They won't do it. So why not? Like, these guys need to be called out again. Like, that's what it was like.
Listen,
like,
the Me
hey,
and Jesse
what's going
podcast,
on?
That's why you got to tune into the Me and Jesse's podcast. You have to subscribe to the podcast because I don't give a shit to ever get a pass to anything. And if I want to go to something, I'll go to something. But I can't let you, what you just said there is the key to this whole podcast today is that the press is fake news. The fake news press are the sportscasters of this world that are sitting in Edmonton or other dressing rooms, that are sitting in Las Vegas dressing rooms.
Local press.
Can't say to Derek Carr, Derek, you're 0-6 with 3 minutes left in the game, losing by 3, 5, 6 points, and you didn't win one of those games? Not
that
one
is
of those
a huge
games.
issue, actually. Why the hell aren't we allowed to question them controversially anymore? Why aren't we allowed to say what we see? Why aren't we allowed to ask those questions anymore?
Not happening.
It's horrible. And this is what I love about European sports. Formula One, FIFA, Premiership. Like, these leagues have figured it out.
Did you let their announcement. Did you see that? Iran? No, am I saying it incorrectly now? Iran or Iran, the country, because I'll stand corrected on it, because if I'm saying it incorrectly, I'd like to apologize to the people of Iran. I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. The American captain, not the American captain, American player was pronouncing it incorrectly. And the person, the reporter from that country said, "Hey, you're saying the name of our country incorrectly." And the American guy handled it very well. He was very calm. He didn't become controversial. But the questions he was asking about racism and about these other things, you couldn't do that in the NHL or NFL.
No.
Oh my God, it'd be catastrophic,
Iran.
right?
That's how you say it in English.
Iran, right? So the person from Iran asking these questions was like telling him, like, what about racism? What about this? What about, like, really hard questions? And he did a great job answering them. But you couldn't do that in the NFL, NHL. People would be like, wow, I can't even believe he's asking him this question.
You lose your press pass.
And that's the thing. We saw what happened with Draisaitl last year. Yeah. Remember what happened? He was a little bit tiffy. The guy was being a little aggressive with him. Yeah. Hey, this is how it is. I'd like to go check if he even gets a press pass, that guy anymore. I'd like to go check.
Because that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're like, well, he was just trying to get a rise out of him. Yeah, that is the point.
Yeah.
That we're trying to get some sort of emotion out of these guys. And 98% of them don't give you anything at any given time.
Nothing.
And it's ridiculous. We, as fans, deserve more. We deserve to know what's going on. We're the ones that pay the bills. There's sponsorships and all that stuff. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't for us. There's a reason why the WNBA doesn't get these things. It's because the fans don't go. They've been open for 20 years, and 300 people go to every game. And you can mail in and say that pisses you off. It's the facts. You can't argue with how little people go there. Therefore,
don't forget to mention that the NBA does subsidize the WNBA now as well.
It was because the league was made by the NBA for them. So again, it doesn't matter. My point being there is that here is where the fans and the money are. We're asking questions. We want to know. We want to have answers. We don't want to be told the same thing every single week that doesn't make sense, that is just a brush off, and we have to watch the same shit in a different pile the next week. That doesn't matter to us anymore. We need to know. And this is why I love and falling in even more love with European sports, because they don't hold back. They're like this show all the time, and they don't care who they piss off. I mean, the Max Verstappen wins a championship, and they have announcers right to his face saying, "Oh, that was a little tainted, wasn't it?" And they don't care.
But you know what though? Max has the right to in F1 to tell these guys. Like he can.
But that's the thing. He can tell them to F off. I'm not.
And I'm okay with
you.
that too.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that
Absolutely.
too, though. You understand? So, but at least he gives me the emotion of telling someone to F off.
At least it's real.
Yeah. And it is real. And that's what we're all looking for.
That is it.
You know what's funny? I've criticized Dana White on multiple occasions about how there should be a code of conduct in the UFC. But in hindsight, it's probably not hurting him that guys talk the way they talk. Guys do what they do. They talk. And he always says, I'm not monitoring anybody. I'm not telling them how to act. They can say whatever they want. And I say, no, you got to have a code of conduct to take the sport to the next level. But his ratings aren't suffering when guys talk the way they talk.
No, they still sell pay-per-views.
That's right.
Which is about what it's about.
Yeah, because people don't want to hear, oh, we played hard today, we skated hard, and that's the end of it. No, they don't want to hear that.
We don't want to hear that. It sucks. It is lame. So if you don't want that anymore, tune in every Monday night to the Me and Jesse podcast, and you will get reality. A reality check for
a reality sports podcast.
You'll get the reality check for your team because you want your team to get a reality check. Just leave a comment and we'll give the old reality check to the team. So we don't care because we don't care about the press pass because we know that that's not where it's going anymore. And I don't care. Like if anything that Live Golf has taught should have taught the world is that hey, let's get 3 comedians to go and be in the press conference and ask friggin' what they ate in their microwave dinner last night, and who cares? Let's just try to shake this up.
Way more entertaining.
It's more entertaining to know what the guy had for dinner last night than the questions they've been being asked for the last decade.
But the CEO of Live Golf, the Shark, Greg Norman,
he's getting
said today, quote, I could give a rat's ass what Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy has to say about me. He goes, I could care less. And you know what? Good for you, Greg, because what they're doing over at Live Golf right now is just fantastic for the sport. Even guys on the PGA Tour are starting to say it's probably better for all of us.
Yes.
Because now
people are listening.
And now we're getting treated just a little bit better on the PGA Tour now. And
go figure.
Maybe you're getting a few flights paid for. You're getting upgraded to first class. That's peanuts on the grand scheme of things. But figure it out. You don't make any money on the PGA Tour unless you win.
100%. Well, everybody, if you have a glass need and it's cold, and when the cold comes, the cracks happen more. Right? That's what happens. That's what happens.
Crystal Glass for all your glass needs. Your clear choice for all your glass needs. Call 310 Glass or go to crystalglass.ca.
And what if you need a steak?
Oh, you go to Meathead, specialty meat and seafood. And listen, guys, you want to try layered nachos. Boom,
oh,
boom,
yes.
boom,
You
boom.
needed layers nachos.
You go to Broadway in Grand 1919 and go see Jesse. He'll be there and he'll educate you on the finer things in life.
That's right. Come have a nice glass of scotch. I'll take you for a journey.
I smashed my camera out there.
Yeah, you did.
And don't forget Backscape too. Great product out there for all you men that watch our show. Check out Backscape. Is it backscape.com, Jesse?
Yep. B-A-K. No C.
No C, guys.
Yeah,
check
you
it out.
Don't see the back hair anymore.
See what we're learning here today on the show? It's just so
I just came up with that now.
That tagline. You might want to use that in the future.
Well, until next time, everybody. Right over there is Mark Pavelich. I'm Jesse Martineau. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram,
we're on TikTok.
YouTube,
we're on
Facebook.
TikTok.
We're on all the things. Just search up Me and Jesse Podcast. You'll find us. And, relive some of the great moments from this week and other weeks on the show. Until next time, have a good week. And, hey.
Go Croatia.
Yeah, go France now. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/meandjesse.